Hey there, I'm Joe Carter. If you've ever popped the hood and thought, where do I even start? You're in good company. Around here, we take the mystery out of car repair, one fix at a time. Whether you're a beginner or just looking to sharpen your skills, there's something here for you. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're into learning without the headaches. All right, that's enough from me. Let's get into it.
How the crank mechanism is organized. The assembly consists of three main parts before considering the connecting rod and piston group. You need to pay attention to all the parts of the CMM. The connecting rod and piston group is part of the connecting rod mechanism. Crankshaft. An axis that passes through the shaft itself, the support journals, and the flywheel flange. Note that the connecting rod journals are placed behind the axis of the shaft. This allows them to rotate around the shaft as it moves. At the moment of sudden braking, the crankshaft adds up from the forces of gas pressure and mass inertial forces. Flywheel. A mechanism that stores energy. Its use is necessary for the motor to run smoothly. This part helps the assembly not to brake at the dead point. Other components of the engine, timing mechanism, cooling system, block crankcase, valves, axles of rotation, camshafts, etc. are necessary for the proper operation of the CSM. Are necessary for proper operation of the CMM. Moving working group of the crank mechanism. Moving parts of the crank mechanism include piston. A part of the crank mechanism that moves inside the cylinder. On one side it is pushed forward by the products of fuel combustion. On the other side it is driven by turning the shaft. To maximize density, there are rings on the outside of the piston. They are needed to seal the opening. This arrangement of the piston prevents loss of power. Connecting rod. A connecting part that sits between the shaft and the piston. The upper head is attached by means of a pin. The lower head of the connecting rod can be removed. This is the connecting rod cap. To reduce the friction force, connecting rod liners, i.e. plain bearings in the form of plates, are placed between the parts. They are curved in a semicircle. Crankshaft. In the center of the node is placed the axle. It is a supporting part in the cylinder block. On the axle on the outer side are crank pins. They are necessary for connection to the connecting rods. When the element moves downward, the lower part of the crankshaft moves in a circle. This is done simultaneously with the movement of the piston. The supporting elements are on the bearings. The stern journals are in the crankcase of the engine. The journals are connected by jaws and have counterweights. Flywheel. The flywheel is usually mounted on the end of the crankshaft and attached to the flange. It moves simultaneously with the shaft and absorbs jerk loads. It is necessary for the rotation of the crankshaft. Accordingly, part of the energy supports the functioning of the element. The cylinder head assembly. It is mounted on the block. Necessary to cover it from the top. There are holes necessary for the valves. In the lower part, a gasket is installed. This spare part has holes for cylinders and fasteners. At the top is the valve cover. Under it, a gasket. Principle of operation of the crank mechanism. The device of the crank mechanism is based on the generation of energy, which appears after the combustion of fuel. This force is converted by the crank mechanism into the desired form. The principle of operation of the crank mechanism, atomized fuel and air are mixed in the cylinders. The mixture in this vessel burns instantly. The cylinder is laid horizontally, so the air in it expands lightning fast. The cylinder is located in the block crankcase. Before the fuel is burned, the piston is positioned at the upper point. As soon as the fuel mixture is burned, it drops to the lower point at lightning speed. The connecting rod in an engine is connected to the shaft and the piston. The connecting rod moves the piston in one direction and is dressed on the crankshaft. The movable connection provides a directional impulse that contacts the shaft tangentially. By doing so, the crankshaft makes a turn. and connecting rod bearings reduce friction between the parts and are sliding elements. The connecting rod bearing is lubricated by oil from the crankshaft bores. The piston and connecting rod are responsible for the rotation of the shaft, giving it continuous rotation. The flywheel provides the impulse to rotate the shaft, which at times hits a dead center. Maintenance of the crank mechanism. The crank mechanism plays an important role in the engine, so it is worth listening to its operation. There should not be extraneous noises and knocking. It is necessary to observe the oil level. If the vehicle is not new, it should be done daily, before each departure of the car from the garage. The tank is filled with fuel of only high quality, without extraneous impurities and water. If deviations from normal operation are detected, it is worth contacting the masters. Methods of diagnostics of the crank mechanism. For the normal operation of the engine, regular diagnostics of the vehicle is carried out. In particular, the master is contacted to carry out a number of activities. Primary, where the presence of knocks and other noises is detected, measuring the general clearances in the joints, detecting the volume of gas that enters the crankcase, checking the pressure and oil level. Knocking in the engine. When extraneous noises appear, it is necessary to contact an automobile repair shop. Knocking indicates that some parts are worn out. In particular, bearings and all kinds of gaskets can suffer. It can be formed as a result of low-quality oil or its absence. Reduced power. If the motor does not work at full power, it is possible that the rings of the pistons are stuck. Because of this, oil particles accumulate in the combustion chamber. Gases get into the power unit itself. The energy produced is wasted. To check the compression in the cylinders. If deviations from the manufacturer's specified indicators are detected, the apparatus will need to be repaired. Increased oil consumption. If excessive oil consumption is detected, contact a workshop. The oil burns simultaneously with the fuel and mixes with it. This increases the temperature in the chamber. You can detect it yourself. Pay attention to the exhaust gases coming out of the pipe. If the smoke is black in color, rush to the service station. Soot on the valves, pistons, and other engine parts. Soot can accumulate. These deposits indicate that the fuel does not burn 100%. Accordingly, it is necessary to carry out a comprehensive diagnosis. Repair technology. Independently, it is impossible to eliminate most of the defects. It is necessary to perform several repair measures. The connecting rod mechanism requires checking and correcting the work of the following parts: pistons and pins, repair of connecting rods, complete restoration of the crankshaft. Pistons and pins, connecting rod repair, crankshaft restoration, crank mechanism device, CSCM diagnostics, piston melting, piston ring seizure. White smoke from exhaust pipe, CMP kit. In conclusion, understanding the crank mechanism is essential for ensuring optimal performance and longevity in various applications. By grasping its principle of operation, you can effectively diagnose and maintain this crucial component. Regular maintenance and awareness of common faults, such as unusual noises or vibrations, can help prevent more significant issues down the line. Remember, timely repairs and a proactive approach to troubleshooting can save both time and resources. By following the guidelines discussed, you can enhance the reliability of your crank mechanism and ensure it operates smoothly for years to come. Thank you for watching, and we hope you found this information valuable.